All right, welcome AmeriCorps members. Welcome back. We are going to get underway with another entry into our Life at the AmeriCorps interview series. Today we have another special guest. Um, as you know, my name is Ilyas. I am your AmeriCorps program coordinator. And to my left here, I have Ms. Shantal. Ms. Shantal, would you please introduce yourself, your role in the region in which you serve?
Sure. Thank you, Elias. My name is Shantal Aguirre. I'm currently a site manager. Was actually started off with Blueprint as a fellow and did that for a couple of years and then transitioned over to leadership about 3 years ago. And yeah, that's where I'm at currently.
All right. And if it did cut out, she is a site manager in our Bay Area region. All right. So let's get things started. For our first question, could you talk to us and maybe explain, from your standpoint, how you believe returning as a Blueprint Math Fellow or Lead Fellow may directly impact and prepare a prospective AmeriCorps member for success in our program?
Absolutely. The impact is so great returning for a second or even third year. I think first and foremost for the students, because the level of the experience you gain as a first year fellow is tremendous. And so you're able to use those skills returning to a second year and continue perfecting your craft. So students are the first to be directly impacted by a fellow returning for a second year. And also I think other fellows, lead fellows play a huge role in mentoring our first year fellows as well. And so there's that additional impact as well that like the returning fellows are also going to be supporting newer core members in becoming strong instructors as well for students.
Yeah, awesome. I couldn't agree any more myself. As someone that served as an AmeriCorps member for 2 years, the year between from the first year to the second year of your experience, and you served as well, the amount of growth that you experienced, not just as a fellow or AmeriCorps member, but just as an individual and as a young professional, is truly invaluable. And so I definitely appreciated what you said there. And hopefully, that's something that our AmeriCorps members are, interested in experiencing for themselves. My next question, are there any particular qualities that you think would make, an AmeriCorps member like extremely exemplary in their second year with the program? What qualities do you like to see in AmeriCorps members return?
Absolutely. And I think this one, not just for returners, but for all fellows, someone who's committed to serving, right? Someone who really believes in our mission. I think if you're mission driven, you're going to be successful because you're going to get support for all those other things. But I think having that mission really drive your work is going to keep like re-energizing you and reminding you of your purpose there. So and also someone who is, I think for returners, someone who's really willing to build on their leadership skills, whatever that means, right? Whatever that leadership area is, for someone who's open to wanting to continue growing and not just returning for a second year just to return, but someone who wants to continue getting better at what they do, I think would be a great skill to have.
Absolutely. You got to love what you do, right? And if you love what you do, or at least excited about it, there's no way you can fail. And you're almost guaranteed to do a great job at that. And so, with that being said, what steps could, a prospective corps member take to, begin the process of returning? Or if they're already returning, what are some things that they can do to prepare for the next year coming up?
Yeah, I think some of the first steps would be first, just like talking and connecting with fellows, current fellows who are already returners or leads. I think it could be helpful to get any questions answered, to get a better sense of the role, I think, just by talking to those colleagues. And also, I would highly recommend talking to your site manager. Your site manager has been working with you on your development, and so I think talking to your site manager about what you would want to get out of a second year, or why you would be interested in returning. Oftentimes, us site managers also like to plant the little seed and kind of, remind fellows that that's an option. So I think having those conversations would be helpful, and also just doing your own reflection about, like, again, like I said earlier, what leadership skills do you want to develop, and starting to identify those so that come your second year, you're really intentional about working toward that and getting the support that you need to work toward that as well.
Awesome. I think that's a great job. And I think something that I've heard different in the few conversations that I've had around these topics are really, just making sure that you're leaning on your peers, right? Maybe people that have returned, or, and just kind of connecting to that inner community and getting that support for next year. Because it gives you something to think about, consider, and, definitely you can't put a price on that level of perspective. And so thank you for sharing that response. I'm sure our core members have found a lot of value in that. I think last but not least, as a former AmeriCorps member, how about you share with, the AmeriCorps members that might be watching, any lasting advice that you might have for members beginning their very own life after AmeriCorps experience?
I think I would say don't lose confidence that you really built like strong relationships with. I have my year one cohort. I have a handful of fellows that I still see and speak with regularly, because I that's obviously going to help, like, with your networking and, whatever future you might be interested in. But also, it's just, honestly, it's a joy, like connecting with people again who have similar values to yours, who did the same work that you did. It's a great support system, I think, during the school year and also after. And then, of course, they, will then connect you to other people as well. So I would say try to stay connected as much as possible.
I completely agree. It has been, literally this year is like my 10-year anniversary of when I was an AmeriCorps member. And to this day, I still keep in touch with a lot of people that I served with. And you look back in your network, through even this experience, you've seen people that have come from my own personal network, that, you kind of stay with and stick with, because AmeriCorps is a big community, far bigger than just, the organization that you serve in. And so networking is key. It's sometimes, you hear this all the time, but sometimes it really is about who you know as opposed to what you know. And so thank you for that response. And with that said, we talked about everything. Please stay tuned. We'll keep more videos coming right at you. And with that being said, take care, you guys. Peace.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elias.
All right.